Alright, what's going on, everybody? It's NASA Media coming at you with another video, and you know what time it is. It's time to bring on that boxing. Today we're going to be talking about Jake Paul. Is Jake Paul a fraud? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'm going to break it down a little bit. Obviously, Jake Paul started off on Vine. He started with his older brother. They gained popularity. They went on to YouTube. And YouTube, he joined a house. He kind of created this house and kind of delegated the activity that was going to go on in that house. He brought people and recruited them, and helped them make money, taking a percentage from each of them. He's a businessman, obviously, but in terms of the actual sport of boxing, he's obviously found his sweet spot in terms of marketing for people and making people angry and getting them to tune into his fights, whether they want him to win or want him to lose. So in terms of marketing, he's definitely been successful in the sport of boxing. There's no doubt about it. Like I said before, there are people that have been working to become world class, world champions in the sport of boxing all their lives, and they're still not going to get a shot. They probably will never get a shot to be on a stage that big. Boxing's a lonely sport. People work at it every day, and still they don't always get the opportunities they want. But here you have Jake Paul, a YouTuber, influencer, actor, whatever you want to call him, and you have him without even one fight as an amateur, or if you want to count those YouTuber fights as amateur fights, but I'm talking real amateur fights. Those fights where you drive up with your family and you have to make weight, all this, you fight in a certain weight class. As far as amateur fights go, he doesn't have a decorated background. Then he doesn't even have 10 fights yet. He's making millions and selling pay-per-views. Obviously I can see how that bothers people. That can kind of tick some people off. But at the end of the day, boxing's a business, and it is what it is. If people get their paths easier than others, that's just the way. Not only boxing is, but that's the way life is. And Jake has figured it out in terms of marketing and kind of getting people to kind of care about his fights. He knows how to entice people into watching his fights, because he knows what to post. If you know how to post and get people's attention and get them talking about you, then you're going to have an audience. You're going to get those people that are going to be willing to consume the content that you produce, and that content would be him fighting maybe a guy like Nate Robinson, or a guy like Ben Askren, or Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley was a very impressive win, I believe. It's not easy to knock out an MMA champion. Ask a random guy off the street to go in and fight an MMA champion and beat him. Yeah, but Jake Paul's much bigger than that guy. Yeah, I agree. I'm not disagreeing with that statement, but at the end of the day, he knocked out a UFC champion, and how many people can really say that, especially not being UFC fighters or pro boxers themselves. At that specific time, he showed that a person that has enough grit and enough motivation can come in here and knock out a guy who's been training in the sport for his whole life and has experience in fighting in general, as opposed to Jake Paul, who's fought only like YouTubers and a washed up NBA player and a washed up UFC fighter who doesn't know how to throw a punch or defend himself or move around or properly train for a boxing match. There's a lot of give and take in terms of whether or not you think he's the real deal or not. I personally think he has the potential to become something, because anyone with power in the sport of boxing, especially once you get past the 147 and 154 weight classes, you begin to face guys that aren't as laterally quick, or maybe not as coordinated, or they're obviously coordinated. You have to be coordinated in the sport of boxing, but as far as their feet go and how talented they are in terms of actual coordination, slipping, catching punches, footwork, getting off to the side, cutting angles. It's harder to move when you get up in the weight classes. So maybe that makes it less of a concentrated. Is that the right word? Concentrated. It's less saturated. I think that's what I meant to say. It's easier to stand out in the heavyweights as opposed to maybe when you get to flyweights through middleweights, whatever you can kind of gauge that however you want. But that's just how I feel. I feel like I've been watching boxing for like a decade now, and as far as what I've seen the smaller guys are always the guys that with the faster hands. The smaller guys are always the guys with the better footwork, and they have more talent. They know how to throw punches and create different angles and use their footwork. You don't see that from the heavyweights these days. You just see a lot of you see a lot of jabs, and then you see a big overhand right coming right behind it. But when you have a guy like Tyson Fury who is willing to move his body a little more, you see that he becomes champion, beats a guy like Deontay Wilder, who's one of the most dangerous fighters, if not the most dangerous fighter in the sport of boxing. So with the biggest punch probably. So as Jake Paul continues to go up, I feel like as he advances in competition, you can only go up, you can only improve, and cruiserweight to heavyweight, I feel like he could have success potentially, but he's in the very early stages of it right now. I'm just saying, I don't think he beats any ranked cruiserweight or heavyweight right now. But we'll see what happens. We'll see if that Rockman fight, comes back into fruition, if they can make something happen and get it back in MSG for maybe Amanda Serrano to get her shot. We'll see what happens, but I'll keep you guys updated. I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for the constant support. Like, comment, and subscribe. We're running the subs up. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.